because that's actually interesting. How
Well, I brought that up last week.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
You know.
Yes, you did. It's the Yankees and Dodgers have really people don't realize, but they've basically said we're not spending any money right now, and everybody else is like, well, then if you're not spending any money, then why should I spend money? And so nobody's spending any damn money.
And it's also every agent's nightmare because
Yes.
they want the Yankees and Dodgers involved.
Well, that's where all the money comes from. So if you don't have the two teams giving the money, then you have a big problem. We're going to start with the national championship game, though. Not too long on it. We don't talk college football, so I don't think I want to talk about it now. What I want to talk about is a couple things. I don't know how much of the game you watched last night. You have kids, and the game went till 1 a.m, so I don't know how much you got to see.
Well,
but
thanks to my daughter kind of keeping me up a little
got to
later
see
than
more
I
than
got.
you would've?
I got to see into the third quarter. And then afterwards, I fell asleep because not that I thought the game was boring. It was two really good teams. I mean, Alabama and Georgia are tremendous teams, but it wasn't a high scoring affair until it got there late. Overall, it was a good game. I saw some of the highlights this morning before I left for work, and what was really shocking about the game was that Saban pulled Jalen Hurts, who's been his quarterback. Has been his quarterback all season, and pulled him when they were only down 13-0.
Well, apparently, real quick, I heard this today was that somebody was saying that if Tua didn't get any playing time, he was thinking about transferring. Right. Now, I don't know if Saban knew that or not. I'm sure that wouldn't have played into his. If they're winning at that point, he's not putting him in. Not to talk about it from a game standpoint, because
listen, it wasn't the greatest game for either team. No. They gave up. Georgia just gave up some big touchdowns, including the one in overtime that won it.
They did, and you had two young quarterbacks making bonehead plays. They both took bad sacks in the overtime. They should neither one of them shouldn't have taken it. Now it didn't matter because they scored the touchdown and one scored the field goal. But those are bad plays. They're just bad plays.
But what it looked like to me was the guy, the corner for Georgia, was expecting some help.
Yeah, and he didn't get it
because you could see how pissed he was after the guy because the guy had broken free from him. He was a good 10 yards ahead of him when he caught that touchdown. But overall, listen, Saban is exactly what he's a terrific coach, and the fact was Georgia definitely gave them a game. There was no doubt. Fromm didn't have the greatest game, I thought, for Georgia.
No,
threw two picks, only had 230 yards, and Chubb actually didn't play that well either.
But I'm going to chalk that up to you're playing you're essentially playing against a pro defense. 60% of those guys are going to play in pro ball?
On
the Alabama defense.
For both teams or just Alabama?
No, just Alabama. 60% of those guys at some point are going to play pro ball.
If you're including the offense, yes. I don't know.
No. Just the defensive 11 that started yesterday.
Probably.
At the end of the day, assuming no major injuries or anything like that, 60% of those guys are going to get drafted.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Maybe even more. It might even be more than that. But what I want to talk about more, Craig, is the rumblings you hear after these things, right? When coaches
Saban going to the Giants.
Yes. Well, this will reel us right in. So the national. I don't know if you watched any of the ESPN. Literally every channel they had, had somebody on it. So the Le Batard show did their own thing. They had something called the Cool Room with some people in New York. They had one in L.A., and it was just people watching the game. I listened to the Le Batard one while I was watching the game, and it was pretty funny. It was actually a fun way to watch a game because I didn't have to listen to the two commentators who I don't care. I don't care. I don't know.
Who was the commentator? Was it Fowler?
It was Herbstreit and Fowler.
Ugh.
But my thing, it's not about them. It's not about them to me, right? I know football, so I can watch a game without hearing them talk and understand how the game is being played. What I don't need to hear about is players I don't know anything about. I don't care. And I know that sounds terrible, but I don't watch college football. I don't watch college football. This is I'm basically watching somebody play a computer game at this point.
It's funny.
So I don't care. So it was fun to do it the other way.
I was listening this morning real quickly to the Joe and Evan show, and Evan Roberts made a really good point. And one thing he said was, I don't remember if it was Evan or Benigno. I think it was more Evan because I know Benigno doesn't know what he's talking about. But Evan basically said that New York in general is not a big college football state. Right?
We don't with Rutgers.
Exactly. That's about
There's
as far as it
college
goes.
Football team.
Rutgers and Stony Brook.
Yeah, and I'd put more money on Stony Brook.
Yeah. So the thing is there's just not really a lot. Listen, you have people who live in New York that are Michigan fans. I'm a big Notre Dame fan.
Sure, yes, of course.
But you don't
we have a lot of transplants, but it's too much of a hodgepodge.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, even people that I worked with when Matt and I worked together at CBS Sports Radio, we were interns. I never got the vibe that a lot of people like college football there either.
It's weird.
You know, like I just don't think it's like a huge, following. So,
but now on to the big thing. So Nick Saban it's his 5th national championship, right? Does he stay at Alabama? People are talking about him going to the Giants. He would take the Giant job because apparently now all these old great coaches all want the Giant job. Apparently, because
if you heard the New York media this week with Belichick, it was he loves the Giants. He wants to go to the Giants.
I will say this from what I've read and heard of Bill Belichick over the years, right? The only team I feel like he would coach for, if not the Patriots, is the Giants.
That's your opinion.
But I'm forming that opinion based on the stories I've heard over the years about how he feels about the Giant organization, what you hear, how they speak about the organization. You had Bruce Arians. I think it was on Fox Sports.
Retired.
He did, but you have no. He said that Saban would take the Giant job. And when somebody asked him why Saban would take the Giant job, you know what he said? He goes, "It's the Giants." But is that true anymore? Can you say that about the Giants anymore? Like, are they the
tough
Giants?
Part of this, but here's the tough part of this, and
I don't want Nick Saban, by the way.
I don't think anybody. I wouldn't want Nick Saban.
I would move heaven and earth to get freaking Belichick here.
But
I don't want to touch Nick Saban with a 20-foot pole.
Quite frankly, why would Saban leave Alabama, where he's a god?
It makes no sense.
He's a god.
But Craig, why would John Gruden go back to coaching when he's only making $3 or $4 million more to just sit in the sidelines and be comfortable and happy and not stress about anything? These guys are insane.
The thing is like, look, Saban's not going anywhere. He's not unless he really feels like
That's
the first
ruin
time
his legacy.
Or the first time around, and when he was with Miami, he just didn't get the job done. But he's realizing that now, 10 years, 15 years later, after the fact. But again, the problem is he hasn't made in the shade in Alabama. I mean, why would he ever leave? All he has to do is say, "I want more money," and they're going to give it to him.
The only reason he leaves is because of legacy, because his one stint in the NFL was a disaster.
That could be it.
But that would be the only reason. Because you're right. Other than that, you're a god. You literally are better than the best coach that has ever coached, and you happen to be coaching at the same place that he coached. And now you have Nick Saban could. Yeah, do you remember when President Trump? I can't. Still hard to say that sometimes.
Oh, now it might be President Oprah Winfrey.
If I might have a minute,
that stirring speech on Sunday during the Golden Globes.
If I might have a minute on that later,
you could have.
Please, because it's going to make my head explode. But you remember when President Trump, when he was running for office, said that he could walk up to somebody on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and nobody would turn him into the police. I actually believe that about Nick Saban. I feel like if Alabama fans witnessed Nick Saban committing a murder, that nobody would say anything, and they would just all hide the body.
Well, we
why would you leave that? It makes no sense.
It's kind of funny because. One of the I'm going to use the movie Varsity Blues as an example.
Oh,
okay,
tremendous!
I love that movie. It's like one of my favorite football. I love that movie. I'm a huge fan of that movie.
Is that the one with
Vanderbeek?
Yeah, with Dawson, right?
Yeah,
with the girl with the whipped cream bikini.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying the point of that is that, for example, there's a scene in the movie where the guy steals a police car and he just starts joyriding around the town. And in the next scene, the cops are sitting in the local bar or whatever that they're in or restaurant, and they're talking about it, and they're all pissed off that, these kids are out of control. And the football team is sitting right there. And the coach is like, "You guys having a problem with my team?" And all of a sudden, they tighten up and they're just like, "No." Because that, I'm not saying that. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that that football team in high school is not a revenue generator for the town, but it's the only thing the town has. And they're not going to allow their team to get in trouble when they're constantly playing for a championship every year. And it's the same thing with teams like Alabama. It's the same thing with teams as Ohio State.
No, I'm not saying he's leaving, and nor do I want him to leave because I don't want him on the Giants. But that'll segue us into. So if you watch the game, it was a terrible first half, interesting second half. I'll say this, and I don't know really anything about college football, though I know about football. The one thing I do know is that Alabama never has the best quarterback. If Alabama has one of the top 4 quarterbacks in college football, they're never losing again.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Right? I mean,
They don't need to. Their
the
offense
second
doesn't
half
really.
of that game, their defense locked Georgia down except for the one play, which was a great pass. It was a great pass and catch, right? It's a pitch and catch. The kid just ran down the field. The kid caught it. But other than that, the Alabama defense locked him down. And if they have a quarterback who can throw the damn ball, which they haven't had under Nick Saban, who can really throw the ball
But think about
and
it,
run
they're
around,
basically,
everyone else is screwed.
But think about it. They're basically undefeated with that, with a
a
marginally good quarterback.
They're undefeated with Alex Smith.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I think Alex was a little bit better.
No. I'm saying that like that type of quarterback, like more of a game manager than a guy who tosses the ball downfield. That's
because he doesn't have to, and they barely throw down. I mean, they throw down the field, but I'm saying, like, just like Manny said, is that you have if Saban is always recruiting the top of the class, Alabama's always
he's never
one of the
worried
tops.
about quarterback. That's what I'm saying. And this kid actually looks like he can fling it down the field. Now, real quick, let me just do this Giants nonsense for a second. Yes.
Hold on one second.
Sure, yeah.
I posted something about Belichick on Saturday on our Facebook
Yes.
page, which you kindly responded. We will have to argue this on Tuesday.
Yes.
And I believe it's that time.
Because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's not coming to the Giants. I think the odds are that he is not, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as everybody thinks. And when Kraft comes out and Belichick come out, you really believe them? They have a playoff game this weekend. You think Belichick's going to come out and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm really actually thinking about going to the Giants in the offseason. He wouldn't. Of course not. He's got a playoff game on Sunday.
But you would think the media would know that
No,
he's
of
not going to
course.
answer that.
Of course he's not.
But of course, they were all, when that press conference probably started, they were all chomping at the bit to be the one to ask him that question.
The stupidest question you could ask, to be honest with you, because it is stupid.
Well,
because it's also like the idea. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk about the story that came out. And the thing about the story that cracks me up is there's a good possibility that one of the unnamed sources that are listed in that story is one of those three guys.
You really believe that?
Yes, absolutely. Because you're talking about conversations that not a lot of people know. And let me say this. The story is actually sort of brilliant in the way that it's not fantastical enough that it couldn't be true, right? Even though you have unnamed sources. It's not crazy, right? It's not crazy to think that the old aged quarterback wouldn't want the young guy coming for his job. We've all seen, what's the one with Pacino?
Oh, Any Given Sunday.
Yeah, Any Given Sunday. We've all seen it.
Willie Beeman?
Yeah, Steve and Willie. And so what I'm saying is that like it's not. I don't know. That's all conjecture. What I'm saying right now. But would it be crazy to find out that Belichick was the one that leaked all this crap? Would it be? Would it be crazy?
Here's what I'll say. I don't believe there was ever a chance he's going there. However, at the same time, you can also never say never, because I'll give you a perfect example. Giancarlo Stanton going to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Most people would say that's never going to happen because his contract is too high.
And Aaron Judge.
But then eventually, exactly, and that was the other reason, was Aaron Judge. But again, you can never say never to these types of things because when you least expect it, it happens.
I'll just say this, and you'll remember this. Did you really think Bill Belichick was going to be the coach of the Patriots or the coach of the Jets? He was supposed to be the coach of the Jets.
Yeah.
And then in one day, he
know
decided not to. But what I'm saying is
in
you
many
don't
ways
know
for that,
if you were a Jet fan for that
which
day,
by
you
the
were
way,
happy.
Which, by the way, I don't know if this is going out for demos or whatever, but fucking Jet fans need to get over the Belichick thing because I'm so sick of
they
hearing
absolutely
it.
do. No,
Holy shit.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying
they are still.
But that falls under the purview of don't count your chickens.
I mean, listen, if you blame anybody for that, you don't necessarily blame Belichick. You blame Parcells because Parcells basically came out and said, oh, yeah, he's going to take over. When I don't really know for certain if Parcells ever went to him and said, do you want to be the next coach of the Jets or do you have what are you planning when I leave? So a lot of that was on Bill Parcells because he pretty much had proclaimed him his successor. And I think that was actually in his agreement when he got signed with the Jets, but I don't know if that's true or not. But again, people got to get over this.
They do.
It's just, the problem I had with this story in general was not the fact of whether it was true or not, even though I don't take much into unnamed sources, anonymous sources. To me, it's all
Watergate. Watergate was all on anonymous sources. I'm not comparing this to
Watergate.
Watergate.
This is politics.
But still, what I'm saying is that anonymous sources are a thing. They exist, and they aren't always wrong.
But the thing was, you had to hear, I don't know, maybe you did, the Giant fans and the people on
Oh, it's
WFAN.
nonsense. Oh.
WFAN was like, "Oh, this is so delicious. This is this." I'm like, "There's
Stop.
no proof."
Look, here's all I'll say. I don't care about the story, to be honest with you, and it wouldn't bug me. The only thing that I don't understand about the whole thing is why you would side with the quarterback over the coach. That's what I don't understand. But that's a question for Robert Kraft. All I'll say is this. Belichick to the Giants, if you're the Giants, right, and you've heard sort of through back channels through like Bill's friends that he at the end of the season is thinking about getting out of his contract and would love to come to coach for the Giants, well then guess what? You're the Giants. You can't hire a coach. You can't. You have to wait.
You have to wait.
You have to wait because even if there's a 20% chance, I'd rather go another season where you crap the bed and like then he becomes a free agent, whatever. Like, I don't care, but anything that has to be done, if you think you have a chance to get him, you have to do it, which is why I think that's why they're waiting. Like, it's funny, somebody, the Panthers fired their offensive coordinator and their quarterback's coach today. And somebody on Twitter brought up that, oh, well, maybe the Giants really like the Panthers D coordinator and he's bringing those guys. I'm like, no, I don't think it's that at all. I don't think it's that at all.
I wouldn't hold my breath. I think the Giants will have a coach by next week because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be McDaniels. And I think
he's going to the Colts.
I don't think I would do that. I'd probably go to the Giants over the Colts. It's a tough call.
You're talking about same situation, but you're talking about younger quarterback. I mean, you don't necessarily know what you're getting into in the Giants at right now. Is Eli the starter next year? Is he not? Are you drafting a quarterback with the second pick? Do you like any of the quarterbacks in the draft? Because to be honest with you,
there's a lot. Everybody's all over the place. I'm going to be honest.
I'm
going to be honest on this one. And I'm not saying this because, with the Jets picking fifth and all that stuff. I've been reading a lot of mock drafts. They're all over the place with the quarterbacks.
Well, but I don't like any of them yet.
Right now, you're basically – this is why you're giving Josh Rosen to the Giants, and that's because they have the number 2 overall pick. And in your opinion, media opinion, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to draft a franchise quarterback, yet you don't know if this guy is a franchise quarterback.
Now, real quick on the Giants, then we're going to do a little coaching carousel. The Jets, I thought, real quick, just had a really good season for what we thought they were going to be, right? I mean, we all thought they were going to go in 16. Remember? This is going to be the worst team in NFL history. The whole world is crumbling.
Let me tell you
it's unbelievable.
Not to rip him constantly, because and I don't even know why I listen to it, but listening to Beningo talk about Jets, it's like a fair weather Jets fan. If you call it, when they win, he is on the highest of highs, and when they lose, like. There were times during the season when the Jets won a few games in a row, okay, where he would talk about, oh, Jacksonville was a good team. I'm like, that was a good win, even though they almost lost. Or at the time, the Dolphins were a better team than the Jets when the Dolphins beat them. And in fact, at the end of the year, they still wound up being the better team because the Jets were last place. But then you get to the end of the season, and it's like, they beat the Dolphins, but who cares? Like, they weren't that good anyway. And it's like,
but they were. Because they were supposed to go 0-16, and they won 5 games.
Now, I was talking a lot about the Todd Bowles thing, and I'm okay with him coming back because I really believe it's just it's going to be year to year, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be any more than that. But at the same time, it's like the last thing I really wanted was to go through another coach, another GM with another coordinator, which now means you have to learn a whole new offense with this team. It's like I just want to see a little bit of continuity, so I'm okay with Bowles being back.
Right, but if he's only back for a year, then what's the point?
That's just my opinion. I don't really know what the Jets are going to do after that. He's on a 2-year extension, including this year, so really you worry about it in 2020.
Well, that's the other thing. The other thing, too, is that you drafted 2 quarterbacks, and this coach hasn't – now, maybe they just can't be made better. Maybe there are guys that just can't be made better by coaching, right? But like Case Keenum throws sort of a wrench into that, right?
Sure.
Like, where like you think a guy sucks and then he comes out and you would get the right coach and it works fine. You had 2 quarterbacks under this coach that made no improvement over the time that he's been there. And you want to draft a quarterback in this draft because you need a quarterback. Is Todd Bowles the right person to do that? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the players play hard for him, and they won more games than they should have this year.
At the end of the day,
it was a win this year. It was.
No, listen, I was very pleased with the season. And, sometimes you do take into consideration that, well, they were 5-11 last year to this year, but this year just felt a little different. It was almost like, they were a lot of those games last year, they played like crap, and they really quit on the team in general. Look, the bottom line is I like having Bowles back. I still think Petty hasn't gotten enough of a sample size. I think it's only like 7 games. He was all over the place, but I also think that had a lot to do with the OC basically hamstringing him with the offense.
Maybe.
But at this point, he's not going to be back with the team next year, and I'd probably consider cutting Hackenberg and just say, you know what, we fucked up. We made it. We thought we liked him, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Sometimes you got to play that card. You don't want to because you're trying to save face, but there's no other options. And at least at the end of the day, you are kind of being honest by just saying, well, we thought he was going to be good, but we just didn't like what we saw.
As for the Giants, I mean, they were terrible, and they have a second pick in the draft, and to be completely honest with you, if you think Eli's going to play for you the next 2 or 3 years, if you're Dave Gettleman and you looked at the 37-year-old Eli Manning and know that if you get him a good offensive line, he can actually make plays for you with Odell coming back, with Sterling Shepard.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
With what's his name? Then you trade down from that pick and you draft offensive linemen and you draft defensive and offensive weapons. And then you wait on maybe who knows about Davis Webb? Nobody knows. We've never seen him play. We never saw Aaron Rodgers play either. He didn't play for 5 years or something like that under Brett Favre. So everybody can relax for a second. I'm not saying Davis Webb is freaking Aaron Rodgers.
But you're kind of being a bit of a pick. You're pretty much being a realistic Giants fan.
But because why waste the pick if Eli's going to play for 3 years?
Because now the season's over and the Giants win Week 17. I don't know if that would have really made up the draft. It wouldn't have made a difference because the Colts, even if the Colts would have lost, the Colts weren't taking a quarterback anyway. So with the number 2
it wouldn't have mattered.
So the thing is that after the season ended, all everybody was talking about, honest to God, was they need a quarterback.
But why?
Exactly my point. And that's what I said last week when I did the show on Strong Island was, if you rebuild that offensive line, let's say you bring Justin Pugh back next year, maybe you draft an offensive lineman. I know this kid from Oklahoma, Orlando Brown, supposed to be like a beast, like whatever. And this other kid from Texas, Connor Williams, supposed to be really good. You draft one of those guys off the bat. And I don't know how much cap room they're going to have. I know they'll probably make some cuts. I mean, there's going to be some cuts, definitely. The whole point would be rebuilding that line to protect Eli Manning. And then once you get Beckham back with Shepard and, by the way, Evan Engram, now you got something.
Well, but that's the thing. So until you rebuild the offensive line, it doesn't matter who you draft as quarterback. It doesn't matter who you take with the second pick.
But like everybody
the
forgets
offensive line
that,
still sucks.
Everybody forgets that.
But they
and
think
it's
if
so
they get,
frustrating
right, but
to
they
listen
think if
to.
they get somebody who can run around like Aaron Rodgers, then he can just make plays. And even though the NFL seems to be going that way, like everybody, you see all offensive lines can't block anymore. If your quarterback doesn't have mobility, unless you're Drew Brees or Tom Brady, your quarterback has to have offensive mobility because offensive lines don't block. They can't block anymore. I don't know why. I don't know if it's if defensive players are getting too fast, too big, too strong. I don't know. But something's changed where every play I see quarterbacks running for their freaking lives. And I don't remember seeing it that much. I just don't. Maybe that's all the practice and whatnot. But as for the rest of the team, look, I mean, they had a ton of guys on you. They led the league on injured reserve. They had 22 guys. And they were all crazy like surgery injuries. They weren't just hamstrings and stuff. I mean,
you kind of knew it was going to be that type of a season for the Giants when they lost all three receivers in that game.
And so, look, they got guys coming back. I thought Evan Engram had a good rookie season.
I thought he was good.
I thought Sterling Shepard, when he came back and played, I thought he was pretty good. I don't care what you do with Eli Apple. I just need him to stop being a child. I don't care if you bring him back. I don't care if you think you can fix him. I don't care if you cut him. What I need from him is to stop being a child. You're a grown-ass man making millions of dollars to play a sport, but it's your job. Stop engaging the idiots on Twitter who are only trying to get a rise out of you so they can get 5 minutes on SportsCenter. Stop. Just stop. Because you're not helping anybody but them. So just stop. I don't care. I've seen you play well, so I know it's there. Like last year, he played really well. Everyone thought it was, the Giants secondary is fantastic. Yeah. Remember with Cromartie and all that. Everyone thought they were really good. He played some really good games last year. So we know it's there. And he went through some personal stuff this year. What he has to learn is how to separate the personal from the professional. And that in everyone's life, you have personal nonsense, but when you go to work, you got to forget about it. It sucks and it's hard, but you got to forget about it. You think that every day when I go in my restaurant and I wait tables that I can walk up to if something bad happens, you got to walk up to my tables and be like, yo, what's up? Yeah, what do you want? No, I'm having a bad day. What do you want? I can't do that. I can't. And neither can you. You have to go to work and you have to be a man. And as for the Giants coaching search, if they don't get Bill Belichick, I want the defensive coordinator from Carolina.
Steve Wilks?
Yeah.
No McDaniels?
No.
Why not?
Because he looks like a douche.
I felt like we talked about this like a few weeks ago, and you were like all in on McDaniels.
I was.
Now all of a sudden, you're not.
But I've been doing some research on the Steve Wilkes character. I like the way the defense the Carolina defense plays. I like what I hear about him, the way his players react to him. The thing about Josh McDaniels is think about it this way, and I've been thinking about this. He's just something about the way he looks. He just looks like a knob. He really. I'm not saying he is, guys. I'm not saying that.
Yes,
I'm
is.
saying he looks like that.
He's totally.
And also think about it this way. His one head coaching job was with Denver, and it was a disaster. And I'm not totally blaming him all for that because they did saddle him with Tim Tebow, although I think he wanted Tim
He drafted Tim Tebow. But then they made the playoffs.
They did. Here's my thing.
Didn't they win that game?
How good is Josh McDaniel?
We don't know.
Right, that's the problem.
Well, the
I
problem
don't
is
know.
in general,
Steve Wilkes runs a good defense.
You can't sit there and keep plucking off the Belichick tree because the history has not been good.
They're never good. It's always Belichick's.
Charlie Weiss is the first coach that's not only been bad in the NFL, he's horrible in college too.
Well, but none of them have been good. Now they're all good coordinators, and so my thing is that this guy's been the coordinator for Tom Brady. I mean,
and Tim Tebow.
Well,
because I think he was calling the plays in Denver.
Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But Tim Tebow, when they went to the playoffs with Tim Tebow, they took that by surprise. That was like the Wildcat. The year the Wildcat worked. Remember, it was a year. There was 1 year where the Wildcat worked all the time because teams hadn't adjusted to it, and then they adjusted to it, and then they destroyed those people, those idiots who ran the Wildcat. I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, look, if they hire Josh McDaniel, then I'll be excited about it because that's what you do as a fan. I'll be less excited because again,
you think he's a knob.
I want to be able to watch the press conference without being my coach is a douche. That's all I want. I couldn't with McAdoo here, and like all I could think of was, man, this guy's like vanilla yogurt, man. It's brutal.
McDaniel seems like the kind of person, and I really believe this too. He would get offended in New York. I think it wouldn't take much to get on his case. If the Giants, for example, if the Giants go on a little 3-game losing streak, but they're still in the hunt, but it's still 3 games, 3 tough losses, the press starts getting harder on you because that's the media market. That's the New York media market for you. My gut tells me he would have a hard time with it, and he would just be very snippy and, like you said, a douche.
Yeah. So you want to do some more coaching and teams together?
You want to do that now?
Sure, we can do that.
So what Maddie and I decided to do was we decided for this week we are going to be ordained ministers. But this is a different type of marriage, right? I should have had you pull the Spaceballs thing where do you? Yes. Do you? Kiss her.
Or I was thinking of marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
So the thing is, what we decided was a lot of coaches got fired.
Yes.
Black Monday definitely didn't disappoint in my opinion. Between the Colts, between the Cardinals, where Arians retired. The Giants had already gotten rid of McAdoo, and Spagnuolo has no chance of getting the job. Caldwell got fired in Detroit. Chicago, Fox got fired, but they already replaced their coach. So what we decided to do was we're going to have a little bit of a kind of like a mass wedding, and we're going to marry the coach to the team.
Music I never want to hear.
Yeah, music I've already heard.
Yes.
So in that sense, Maddie, are you ready?
Of course.
So we have, let's throw out some names.
Yes.
So we have Steve Wilkes.
Yes.
We have Josh McDaniels.
Yes.
We have Matt Patricia.
Yes.
John Gruden already got the job.
Yes.
Matt Nagy took the job in Chicago.
Yes.
We have Pat Shermer.
Yes.
That's another one.
Yes.
And let me see if I'm thinking of anybody else. Okay, never mind. We'll just do those 5.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll do 5 teams.
Yes.
Okay, the Bears hired their coach. The Raiders hired their coach. We'll do the Giants last.
Yes.
Let's start with the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to say Josh McDaniel.
You're
I'm going to say Josh McDaniel. You have a young, great quarterback. Why not find the young, great coordinator to go with him as his head coach?
I'm going to say, this is killing me right now. I'm going to say Pat Shermer.
Okay.
I don't really like Pat Shermer in general, but he just seems like he's a quarterback guy. I know he doesn't really need to do anything with Luck except keep him upright. But the fact is he seems like a match with.
Just seems boring for Luck.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like he's perfect for Indianapolis and Indiana in general. So I'll say Pat Shermer.
Okay.
Detroit.
I think Patricia.
See, I'm going to say Patricia too.
He just seems like a Detroit guy, like kind of a big fat guy with a big beard.
Looks like he's worked in
just like
worked for like the Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, like he's been on the dude is literally a rocket scientist, like literally a rocket scientist. So he's much smarter than I am. I am not saying that at all. I'm not saying that his looks don't match what he is intellectually as far as what we deem as smart. But I think he's going there. I've heard rumors that he's going there. And look, he's a defensive guy. They're a defensive team. When you have a quarterback, go with a defensive coach. That's what I always say.
So I say Patricia too. Although again, I just think the Lions are a team that's just always going to be like 9-7, 8-8. Because granted, you have Stafford, but it's like your defense is again average to below average, and you have no running game whatsoever.
Well, maybe Patricia will change that.
I hope so. I mean,
trade up and get Saquon Barkley.
Not from where they're picking. They're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, why not? Saquon Barkley might go to like 10.
He could drop. I doubt it, but he could
too high
drop.
For a running back.
Okay, here's a tough one.
Yeah.
Arizona.
I would actually...
And here's why I say it's tough. Arizona's a team that looks like they need to blow it up soon, but they kind of can't because they have veterans under big contracts like Chandler Jones and a few of the linemen and stuff.
Which is why actually Pat Shurmur makes the most sense there. Veteran coach, been around a long time, could meld the two together of the old and the new. Maybe him out there. Plus, they're boring. What the hell?
Nah, I understand what you're saying. This is going to be an outside the box one.
Do it. Give it to me.
I'm trying to think, and I'm trying to find somebody
sure,
too.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be
Ben McAdoo.
No, I think he already got a job.
Yeah, did he?
I think
quarterbacks coach for the Packers.
I don't know why I think this. I don't know why I think this. I'm going to say it's this guy from Denver, Studsville.
Oh, yeah, Studentsville.
I don't know why. This is kind of a really outside the box, real outside the box type of hire. But that one to me is probably the one that makes the most sense. I guess we'll do the Giants last.
Yes.
So what do you think? You think it's going to be Wilkes?
I honestly think if there's no Belichick stuff and if Gettleman has the choice, I think it's going to be Wilkes. He's young. He's black, which never hurts. And I know I'm not saying
we're not saying you're not saying.
But I'm not saying he's getting the job because he's black. I'm saying it doesn't hurt.
It just always looks good. I think sometimes things like that just look good because you want to see African Americans get ahead in the NFL.
Well,
and
they represent 90% of the players.
Yeah,
or something like that.
You want to see teams take because there are a lot of good African American coaches in the league.
And and if he's got the reputation that if he's actually lives up to the reputation, I think he'd be good. And I think if Gettleman has his druthers, I think that's where he's going to go.
See, I'll say McDaniels. I really think it's going to be. I don't know why I think it's going to be McDaniels. I just kind of do.
It could be with the young. If you're thinking about drafting a quarterback again, if you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, if you have an established quarterback, you go defense. If you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, you go offensive coach.
So, Matty, I think we did pretty good, man.
And we literally got it in with 6 seconds to spare. I now
congratulations,
man and wife. Say man and wife. Man and wife.
You are made for each other.
Indeed.
At least in our opinion, that's what we think you're going to go. We are the Polar Opposites. He's Matt. I'm Craig. We are on Spreaker.com. We are on TuneIn Radio. We are on iTunes. We are on anything else?
iHeartRadio.
Okay. And we are no longer on Podbean. However, you can. Some of our past shows are still on.
Oh, sure.
there
Yeah, absolutely.
At polaropposites.podbean.com. Just a reminder to all of our listeners. Next Tuesday night, January 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be live on Strong Island TV and on Facebook Live as well.
I'm trying to figure out a way to simulcast on Spreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure it out.
I had an idea I was going to ask you.
A little
but
more ludicrous than I thought.
Maybe we'll talk about it after the show.
Sure, of course.
Do you want to talk playoffs?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, there were some average games this weekend. Why not? Let's talk about the terrible officiating that took place over the weekend.
I'll let you comment on that.
Well, here, can I
still don't know what a catch is in the NFL, but
well, no, you do. That's the problem. You absolutely do know what a catch is, Craig. No. That's the problem. We all know what a catch is. Catch is porn, right? Catch is porn. As the way porn was defined by the Supreme Court, a catch is porn. You know it when you see it, right? You can't describe porn, but you know when you see it. It's the same thing with a catch. We all know what it is. And they got most of those calls right. But my problem is less about the calls that were made and more about the choreography in which they go about doing it that slows the game down so much. Mm-hmm. It is 2017. Why on earth do I need a referee running in from the sideline to tell the umpire, to tell an umpire running from the sideline to tell the ref which guy did the false start. Why do I need to take that time? Why can't that guy get on a little headset and be like, shh, it was number 75 was the guy who was done? Like, why can't we do that? Why are we still doing reviews the way we're doing them? It makes no sense. Why does the guy on the field have to run to the side of the field, get a headset on, watch video, and then make a decision? Why isn't there an old ump who doesn't do that anymore in the booth up top? And as the malarkey is going on after the play, he's looking at all the replays, and then he whistles down and goes, overturn it, or don't overturn it, keep playing. Like, why does that guy have to go over and look at the thing? I don't understand. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
And he's looking at an iPad.
I could literally shave 30 minutes off of the game by choreographing the umpires and referees to the point where they would literally never have to leave the spots that they are in, but could communicate everything they need to communicate. So we could eliminate this old fat guy running in from the sideline, out of breath, telling him which guy was offside, only to run back. It's so long
and if that
between.
And if that doesn't get you, it's just the explanations from Riveron just kill me.
Well, my favorite is Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, he talks like a robot. It's very
No. The guy who, I don't know what his name is. First down, number 4. He's the black guy. He talks like Bobby Boucher, man.
Oh, I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know
what
you're talking about.
But my problem, and look, they're terrible at their jobs, right? They're bad. They make bad calls in bad spots, and a lot of times, I've never watched a game where the commentators comment so much on how bad the officials are.
Here's the thing.
It doesn't happen in any other sport, does it?
Here's the thing. Okay, if you want a drawn out official, have you ever seen the movie Necessary Roughness?
Yes, that was great.
That's the scene I want to see. That's what then you could stretch out the calls all you want. If you do it like that.
But we don't even need all the pomp and circumstance. Just tell me the thing and move on. And also the replays. Can we go back to the old system? Give the coaches 3 or 4, give them 3 replays, right? And they have to challenge everything. No more replaying every touchdown. No more replaying every turnover. The coach has to challenge it. Stop. Just stop. We're making the games interminably long. And when you add in all the commercial breaks, it's like 4 hours. It's 4 hours where you're literally getting 30 minutes of play.
In many ways, you can blame the replacement refs when they botched that call in the Seahawks game from the Packers. And that's why you have everything, showing now. Playoffs in general, I give the Titans a lot of credit.
Oh, sorry, wrong one. No, I apologize.
I didn't bash the Yankees. I didn't jinx the Yankees.
You give the Titans a lot of credit,
and the Yankees are going to win the World Series.
Yeah. Of course they are. They're going to win everything.
Here's the thing: the Titans' first half on defense looked absolutely horrible. Second half on defense were tremendous. Mariota finally woke up. Because Mariota didn't have a good season. At least I didn't think he had a good season. I know he was hurt. I know he missed a few games and all that stuff. But he really didn't play well this year. This was one of the first times I've seen Marcus Mariota have a strong game passing. And Derrick Henry was a beast. But what was killing me even more was after the game, and I didn't even pick up on this until I watched the highlights, you literally see Darrelle Revis quit.
Yeah, he quit. He gave up.
You literally see it. And Dungy was the one that kind of made a mention of it because he said,
tackle the guy.
Yeah. And I mean, he literally pulls up. Like, it was almost the equivalent of he had to cover a bet to keep the spread so he could save his life from, like, loan sharks. Like, that's that type of, like.
Or it was, I know I'm retiring at the end of the season. I'm not getting seriously injured right now.
Exactly.
No matter what's happening.
I have never seen a guy pull up like that before.
Yes, you have.
No,
yes,
I don't think so. No.
You saw it in a Giant game this year.
Jason, no. Who?
It was
Janoris Jenkins.
Janoris Jenkins pulled right the hell up. Right. Just go right ahead, buddy. I don't want to tackle you.
I mean, like, it was crazy, like, how bad Darrelle Revis quit on 2 plays.
2 plays.
That were really, one was the Derrick Henry first down that won it, and I can't remember the second one. It might have been on the Mariota block that, like, kind of sprung him for a touchdown. Right. But either way, man, that was embarrassing. And it
was bad.
But so that game was fine.
But
Good.
I've gotten killed my whole life. Well, not my whole life because he hasn't been a coach my whole life, but ever since he's been a coach, I've lived under the mantra that you will never win a Super Bowl with Andy Reid. I've lived by that since he was coach of the Eagles, even when he took his team to a Super Bowl. I said, there's no way he's winning this game. There's no way, because Andy Reid does the same thing every time. Andy Reid is, without a doubt, the person who, and I don't want to call it choking because I don't think it's choking, but he just gets super conservative when he has a lead in games. And you can't do that in the NFL because momentum is a crazy thing. And I can't quantify it and I can't put anything to it, but it exists. And you can see when a momentum shift happens. And there was a momentum shift in that game. And to be honest with you, it was actually a good play by Revis to bat the ball down. And the guy caught it and then went to touchdown. But my problem is that Andy Reid, every time he gets a lead in a playoff game or the Super Bowl, he gets conservative and loses the game every time.
And the thing is that, the Titans were a team that are getting desperate. They're down 21-0 or 21-3, I think, at halftime.
Is run the ball.
Yeah, and the thing was, then they start completing passes, and then they start getting touchdowns. And as you're watching a game like that in the playoffs in Kansas City, which, by the way, I didn't know they haven't won a playoff game in Arrowhead Stadium
since like
it was like 94, right, or 95,
crazy number,
right? So the thing is, you don't want to get conservative. You don't want to play not to lose. What do we always say about the prevent defense?
Yeah, it prevents you from winning.
Thank you. So the thing is but again, I guess I'm not surprised, right?
No, you shouldn't be, because they're terrible, and that's the way it is. Andy Reid is Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, he just runs the ball.
He's a regular season coach. You'll get to the playoffs more times than not. You will. But, man, you are not going anywhere once you're in the playoffs. The Bills-Jaguars game, you don't have to spend a lot of time on that because it was literally brutal, and Blake Bortles is terrible. He
couldn't even complete a screen pass.
It was so, he missed guys that, how do you –
But Matt,
how are you an NFL quarterback and you're missing guys?
Matty, how many times they checked down and he couldn't complete the pass?
Blake Bortles – it's so funny. I forget who said it, but they were like, the whole Jaguar offense is Blake Bortles drops back, runs around for his life, and then runs for first down. And that's how they win games.
They had 88 yards rushing in that game, too.
It was brutal. I thought the Rams suffered that. Let's be
Special
fair. That
good.
kid killed him, and I feel bad for the kid. I don't mean you couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but I feel bad for him because he literally killed him in that game. I don't know if the Falcons win if they don't have those special teams blunders, but they did win. And you know what? Here's the thing, man. You better be scared of the Falcons because I think it's going to be Falcons-Patriots again. Why do I feel that? Look,
what I liked about this year in general in the playoffs was a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
Sean
Rams.
McDermott gets in on his first year. Marone, first-year head coach of the Jags, gets in. You have Sean McVay and even Malarkey, because Malarkey, this was his first year as a head coach of the Titans, and he gets in. What I always say about first-year coaches, because everybody jumps on the knobs right away because they're going to be great. They're going to be great. As far as I'm concerned, with first-year coaches, you are playing with house money. You have unless you're maybe the coach of the Browns.
Which is why I don't understand decisions that you see from first-year head coaches in playoffs. You'd think that they would go for it more often than they do.
So my thing is that your first year, you're probably not expected to do much. Maybe lay a foundation. Maybe get a few good wins in general. The problem is people put a lot of pressure on these guys because they had such a great year and they're going to be great next year. There is no guarantee the Rams are going to the playoffs next year.
No, of course not.
Okay. All it takes is, because now everybody's on Shanahan's knob too for the Niners, because they're going to the Super Bowl next year because of Jimmy Garoppolo.
All it takes is Todd Gurley blowing his knee out in a preseason game.
So the thing
is, that's it, right?
Yeah.
That is set. Now, I'm not saying that the Arizona was going to the playoffs, but that ruined them.
But it's the second year where you really get a sense of how good that coach is going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And you saw it this year with a guy like McAdoo. This was McAdoo's third year or second year?
Second.
Okay. First year, had the talent, made the playoffs, 11-5. Second year, you kind of see, just kind of his decision-making was piss poor. Then it didn't help him out. There was a lot of tension with the team in general. But still, that second year to me is crucial for coaches to either, not take a step back is my point. You lose a game here and there, fine. But it's not to the point where you're 6-10 from 10-6 or 11-5.
As for the Panthers, real quick, Cam should have come out of that game.
Oh, God.
The NFL is literally lost on this, folks. Guys, how is it that I'm getting better TV angles than the doctors are on the sidelines? We have the technology. We can control cars on Mars from Earth. and they can perform science experiments. You can get these people better camera angles so they can see.
Like,
or do they not care? Like, I don't know which one it is. Is it Cam? Did Cam lie and get back on the field and say it was his eye and not his head? Did he lie? Is that what happened? Because if that was happened, then I blame Cam. But if it was anybody else who had that decision and it was out of Cam's hands, then you guys failed massively. Massively. He looked concussed. Now, I don't know what that means when I say it, but like when his hands sort of like rung up against his chest, it was like Savage did when he got hit. Guys, come on.
And the thing was, my wife and I were watching the Panthers game, and when he took that hit where like the guy hit him low and then the other guy kind of hit him like head on, like my wife's like, but isn't that like helmet to helmet? And I was like, the problem is it's not intentional. Like he's not shooting at his head and all that stuff. But still, like she's like, because that hit looked brutal. Like how is he still standing? And I'm like, that's a good question. I don't know.
He's a giant man.
But the problem is, at the end of the day, you're right. They're losing kind of a way on this thing, because I don't know if Cam hit his eye or his head or whatever, but those hits were brutal.
Yeah.
And I know it's one play and then you can go back in.
Well,
is that what it is now?
If you're hurt, but if you're in the concussion protocol, no.
But the thing is like I think it's both sides. Because I could easily see Cam saying, "I want back in. I don't want it."
It should be left out of his hands completely.
It should.
They should look at the thing.
But I could easily see Cam.
But if he passes the concussion protocol, he goes back in the game.
Well, I mean, again, this is always going to be up for debate, but they really do need to look into this. I don't know if they're going to, but they really do, because this is bad, man. You're putting guys out there that are going to get killed.
Yeah, because he's not going to be. Yeah,
listen, whether the NFL wants to believe it or not, the CTE thing is real. It is real.
It is, but it's also on the players as well to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And so who do you like this weekend?
I'm going to take the Pats, but I think the Titans will give them a game.
Really?
I think the Titans will give them a game. I think maybe this is. I mean, I don't know, but I think they can give them a game. I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta over Philly. I think Atlanta. I don't like Philly. I think Foles. This Foles thing's a big deal.
Yeah, it sucks.
I mean, because he did not play well Week 17, and I think the coaches at this point are kind of like, we don't know what to do. We can only do so much with the guy because he's limited.
Yeah.
So I think the Carson Wentz will, I mean, now listen, second road game in a row for the Falcons, but I think the fact that Nick Foles is in this game only helps Atlanta. And on Sunday, I like the Steelers. There's nothing about Blake Bortles that really kind of helps me at all. I mean, I think Pittsburgh's defense is good, but I think with a better quarterback, they are beatable. I definitely think they're beatable. But in that sense, I like Pittsburgh. And I'm going to take the Vikings.
Wow, okay.
I don't have the stones to take the Saints, unfortunately.
Why?
I don't know. Saints are not a great road team. I know it's a dome game, but
yeah, it's a dome game. If that was outside, if they were playing last year, wherever the hell they were playing 2 years ago, or what, University of Minnesota.
I mean, I think if I'm the Vikings or a Vikings fan, I would worry that Case Keenum won't show up because it's his first postseason game, and that's a lot of pressure on him. But I think their defense is that good, and I definitely think I'm not saying they're going to shut the Saints down altogether. I think it's going to be a very close game, to be honest. But I think that the Saints will come up a little short because I really do like that Vikings thing.
See, I think the defenses cancel each other out, in which case I'm going with Drew Brees.
Okay.
When you take the offenses.
I don't love the Saints defense, but I think it's better. It's much better.
But I'm saying compared to the Vikings offense, the Saints defense is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They did pretty good against Carolina. As for the other ones, I'm going Atlanta too. I'm definitely going New England. I mean, the only way the Jacksonville Jaguars win this game is if the Tennessee Titans win this game is if freaking Blake Bortles blacks out.
Marcus Mariota. We talk about the Titans, dude.
Oh, right. We are talking about the Titans. Sorry.
Holy testicle Tuesday.
Yeah, then it's even worse. I don't think the Titans even have a shot. There's no scenario I can come up with they win.
Well, they have no shot with the quarterback you're throwing out there.
Well,
for
that's
them.
true, and that's what gets me to Pittsburgh. The only way that Jacksonville beats Pittsburgh is if Blake Bortles blacks out, right? Goes into a fugue state where he becomes John Elway for a game, and then beats the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because there's no way. Pittsburgh's defense is good, and they're gonna destroy this kid. He's going to get destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a tough game for Bortles in general, which means they're gonna load the box with Fournette, and Fournette played well against Buffalo. I mean, he definitely started out slow, but he got better as the game went on. And overall, I think, with Roethlisberger having a week off, they're going to get Antonio Brown back.
Right.
I don't know how long he's going to play, but then, of course, Juju Smith-Schuster's been really, been pretty lights out. So, I mean, this could be ugly for the Jaguars. I mean, because they didn't really play a great game. I mean, their defense saved them big time.
Yeah.
Defense saved them big time. So, this is the Polar Opposites Podcast. Check us out again. We are only on Spreaker.com now, no longer on Podbean. We're also on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. And just a reminder, next Tuesday night, January 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be live on StrongIsland.tv, and you can also check that out on Facebook Live. Maddie, let's bring the show home. Let's do a little closing time. Oh, crap. Didn't you want to talk about something for a minute?
I'll do it later.
Okay, never mind.
I'll do it as a rant at the end.
Okay, and I kind of like what we do. I kind of like flipping this over back and forth because, with Strong Island, we do different things. And now, normally on Strong Island, this would be halftime. But since we're doing a podcast today and we're kind of a little pressed for time, we're going to do closing time. We have 4 topics. Any sport, anything goes. All opinions legal. All opinions matter. Maddie, are you ready?
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
And ho.
Yes, they do. Maddie, are you ready?
Ho!
Don't fucking start with me, all right? They matter.
No, they don't. Stop.
All right. Number 1, LeVar Ball once again ripped the Lakers, and in particular, head coach. See, I don't even have to do this. Maddie already knows what's coming, but I'll just do it anyway. And in particular, head coach Luke Walton during a recent interview with ESPN's Jeff Goodman. In the interview, Ball said that the Lakers players, quote, don't want to play for Walton, and that Walton has lost control of the team. Both Walton and Lonzo Ball have disputed LeVar's claim that he's lost the team, with Lonzo saying about his father, quote, he's a grown man. He's going to say what he wants. I can't do nothing about it, end quote. Maddie, is LeVar Ball officially a distraction to Lonzo Ball?
Not according to Lonzo, so I can't really say that he is. The thing for me, and this is where I have the problem here, and it's less about the distraction for Lonzo and more about what's happened since when this all started. And that's that you have NBA coaches now saying that they want to deny credentials to anybody who has interviewed LeVar Ball. They don't want LeVar Ball being interviewed by ESPN. Now, you can be critical of ESPN for covering them. I'm critical of them all the time for covering them. Because here's the thing about LeVar Ball. He has an agenda. His agenda is his kids. And he will do or say anything to make the situation exactly perfect for their kids, whether that affects everybody else around them or not. They don't care. So, no, I mean, do I think that this is true? I honestly have no idea because I know LeVar Ball doesn't like the coach. I know he wants the coach out of there. And so what if this is LeVar Ball just trying to get the coach fired by starting a crap storm? And so I can't take him seriously. But also on the flip side, I can't take coaches seriously when they're saying they're not going to give teams anything because they're covering it. It's nonsense.
Listen, here's what I'll say. At the end of the day, I give Carlisle and Kerr a lot of credit for stepping forward and defending Walton and backing him. I mean, listen, you get kind of tired of hearing LeVar Ball a lot of times. You get tired of hearing LeVar Ball say the same things. He's never going to be a happy individual. He's going to say whatever he has to say to make news. And now it's just this whole thing about the Lakers players tuning out Walton and everything. Luke Walton is a good coach. I think he's a good coach. He's got a very young team right now, though. The problem is that I think the Lakers are more a bunch of spare parts at this point of young guys rather than a team that looks like they're gelling together. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's getting out of control with LeVar Ball's comments. And, I mean, the coach is really
totally out of control.
It's out of control. And the thing is it's all just bullshit and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to put a lid on this guy. You never will because there'll always be a guy there'll always be a reporter with something in his face ready to interview him. But it's out of control, and it's only going to get worse, and it's only going to get worse for Lonzo.
I agree. Number 2, any team that may be interested in Vikings offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur as their next head coach may get the added bonus of having Case Keenum as their starting QB next season. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting that Shurmur and Keenum could be a package deal to a team that is in need of a QB. So far, the only teams that have interviewed or are interested in Shurmur for an interview include the Cardinals, Lions, and Giants. Craig, if you hire Shurmur as your head coach, are you giving big money to Case Keenum to be your starter next season?
No, I'm not. I don't even know if I would hire Shurmur because I'm not a big Shurmur fan. He's all right. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I just don't think he's a very good head coach. Keenum is going to want a lot of money, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve money. He definitely deserves to get a pay bump for the year he had in Minnesota, but it's only been 1 year, and if you take that year with all the bad Case Keenum, there's no way I could ever justify paying him the kind of money that he wants. Now, you could easily have lightning in a bottle, and then you can sign him, and then he winds up being really good. But most times, every time one of these quarterbacks gets a big contract, Andy Dalton, Colin Kaepernick, the list goes on, they're never really as good as unless they're Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers. So, me personally, I wouldn't hire Shermer, but even if Shermer was my coach, I wouldn't want Case Keenum on a long-term deal.
The only team I would do that for is the Arizona Cardinals, because they have a lot of the offense already in place with guys that are already in place, including a running back and an offensive line, and they could slip him right in. And if he can continue to play like he's playing for the Vikings, it could be good for them. But at the same point, you have to like Shermer, which neither one of us do, because he is not a great coach, and neither one
He's
of
had
us,
2 stints, and it hasn't been good.
And neither one of us would ever want him to be our coach.
All right, Maddie, number 3. International retail giant H&M had to apologize for an ad that featured a black child wearing a hoodie that said, "Coolest monkey in the jungle." I swear you can't make this stuff up.
What is? Oh, God.
Once the ad was released, social media went crazy over the photo, which is considered to have racist undertones. Considered?
You think?
Considered?
You think? Just call him Porch Monkey, for crying out loud. Just put Porch Monkey on the freaking sweatshirt, man.
So here it is, Maddie. Do you think H&M realized what they were doing when they released that ad? And I say, honestly,
I'm going to say this.
I hope not.
I'm going to say this. I'll say this. I hope not, but they knew exactly what they were doing when they did it, and that's sort of the problem. Because with the outrage comes
stories of the past.
Stories of the past, but also comes, like, media attention. Now, it might be bad media attention, but when was the last time you heard about H&M?
You're not hearing much about retail in general these days.
And here's the thing, folks. If you're in a room with people and you're coming up with ads for companies and you think your ad might be racist, if there's a thought in your head, man, this could be totally racist, it probably is. And also, if you don't have any black people in that room, hire a couple black people, because they would have told you that it's super racist to put that. You might as well have just put, like, Tar Baby on there or something. I mean, like, it's unbelievable. The blindness, the utter blindness that people have to this crap. It's amazing that you could look at that and say that, man, this is totally something for public consumption. You people are idiots. You're idiots.
But I'm saying, like, think about it like this. That has to go through, like, an approval process before it gets made, right?
But do you know everybody that looked at that was white?
I mean, like, isn't that, like,
everybody,
disturbing, though?
Yeah, but no, because everybody that looked at it was white. Like, everybody, and none of the people that were white were like me. Because if I would have looked at it, what are you, out of your freaking mind? Are you, get out of my office. You're fired. Get out of my office. But I don't care. Everyone's fired. Whoever touched this is fired.
Why don't you read number 4?
Oh, sweet baby Jane. Okay, here we go. Little rockers get us back going here. Derek Jeter's planning to make the Marlins profit. Sorry. Sometimes it's hard to say. Profitable again was leaked to the press, and the court of public opinion is already saying it makes no sense. Shocking. The first part is in progress, which is basically making the team unwatchable thanks to trades of our Giancarlo Stanton and Marcell Ozuna. The second part is an immediate boost in ticket sales once the team is unwatchable. Third is to negotiate a new TV contract for the team. And fourth is attempt to get more money from corporations to support the team. Jeter's plan, which was laid out to investors back in August, will result in an increase in profit of $10 million in 2019, $15.8 million in 2020, and $22 million in 2021. Craig, does Derek Jeter's plan have a chance to work for the Marlins?
No, I don't think it might work for another team, maybe. But the thing is, Miami, I hate to say this about Florida in general, because it feels like it's more of a retirement community than an actual, like, place to live. But no team really survives there, and most of the people that live there are transplants from other states. Baseball, yeah. I think even football to an extent too, because I think while there are plenty of Dolphins fans, there are also a lot of Jet fans, yeah. Patriot fans in general. The problem is when the team had Giancarlo Stanton and, God rest his soul, Jose Fernandez, they still weren't a marketable team because they weren't selling tickets, but they had a pretty decent roster. And now you're talking about blowing the team up and then getting people to buy tickets. How much are you selling these tickets for?
But it's even worse than that, because not only is Derek Jeter giving himself $5 million a year, he's getting pay bonuses when they do make profit margins instead of win margins. He also, and this is like, there are things that you wish you could make up. This isn't one of them. He is, what they're doing is they're getting money too from Major League Baseball sold the app or their digital media to Disney. And so every team is getting $50 million. So they're getting $50 million. He's cutting payroll. They're getting revenue sharing money. He's cutting payroll, and he gets pay bonuses every year for profits, not wins. I'm going to say the same thing I said to every person who voted for Donald Trump. There are things that can be run like businesses, and there are things that can't. And baseball isn't a thing that can be run like your regular, normal business. It can't be run like a hotel. It can't be run like a grocery store. It's not the same thing because you're talking about your product is people. Your product is people. And if you don't have a product that nobody wants to watch, no one's coming to your games. It's why TV shows get canceled all the time.
Sure.
And so it's not a business. It's different. It's entertainment.
I mean, listen, when the Marlins went on that spending spree with Jose Reyes and Heath Bell and all those guys, they really weren't selling out games left and right. I mean, they were hardly getting people in the stadium then too.
Yeah.
So the thing is that it's not that. Listen, you could cut the team down, you could spend $100 million in payroll or whatever, but at the end of the day, the Marlins are just not a watchable team. Nobody's buying season tickets. Their TV deal is apparently one of the worst in the league.
Nobody's paying higher ticket prices either.
And nobody's watching Marlins games on TV because they're a team that it's almost like what we said in a weird way about the Vegas Golden Knights. Because when you put a team in Las Vegas, you get a lot of people that are just tourists more than actual Vegas people that are huge fans. You watch a Marlins game all last year, even when the Marlins played the Mets, for example. You can watch it for 5 minutes. 3/4 of those seats were empty.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare a 35,000-seat stadium with a 17,000-seat stadium. But I know what you're saying. And look, it's not going to change. It's not going to change. And so now they could have a fan base. They could. But they don't treat their fans right, and they haven't. Derek Jeter has not done one thing right since he started this whole thing. And that's really the biggest problem, is that he's trying to make money off of this when you have to try and win baseball games.
Closing time is officially over.
Indeed.
Before we we end the show, Matt, I promised Matt I'd give him a minute, and it's 6 after.
Yeah.
So as long as we're done in the next 3 minutes.
Oh, we got it. It's not going to take very long.
Matt's going to comment real quickly on the Oprah Winfrey for 2020 bid.
Yeah. Folks, first of all, just because you can give a speech doesn't mean you should be president of the United States. Just because you're a good person doesn't mean you should be president of the United States. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you should be president of the United States. Just because you're Oprah doesn't mean you should be president of the United States. She gave a friggin' speech at an award show for acting, and people want her to run for president. Have we learned nothing? First, Oprah's a better person than Trump. I'm not. She would have a better moral compass than Trump, but also a pile of garbage on the street. Like you're not setting a bar really high when you're talking about the moral compass of a person being better than Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay, so let me just put that argument to rest. She has no experience. We need somebody with experience. Do you know how much crap is going to have to be undone in 3 years, in 4 years? You know how much crap? You're going to need somebody who knows how to undo this stuff and who knows how to circumvent all the nonsense and malarkey that is government gridlock. You can't just have a novice in there being like, get rid of this bill. It doesn't work that way. You're not the CEO of a company. There are checks and balances. When you're the run a company, you tell people to do something, they freaking do it or they get fired. It doesn't work that way in government. It just doesn't. So stop. Because I swear to God, if my 2020, if I have to choose between Trump or Oprah in the 2020 election, Harry Carey's coming next. I'm going to commit Harry Carey on somebody. I can't take it. It's ludicrous. We've turned our friggin' elections into friggin' American Idol for millionaires, and it makes me insane.
You good?
I'm good.
No,
I'm not good, but I'm good.
I think we need to bring back the sand in the vag moment for you. Ugh. I think because when you're on, man, when you got sand in the old coin purse,
Screw those people, though. Are you an idiot? If you think Oprah should be president, you're an idiot.
This is must-hear radio.
Idiot!
Right? When you got sand in the old coin purse, man, you're on fire, man.
Son of a bitch.
Which kind of think it's the same thing, but that's besides the point. And with that, closing time and Maddie's sand in the vag moment is over. And this episode of Polar Opposites is over. And we'd like to thank everybody for listening as always. Check us out once more time at Spreaker.com, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. No longer on Podbean anymore. But you can check out past shows at polaropposites.podbean.com. Next Tuesday night, we are back on Strong Island TV, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be talking playoffs and anything else we could squeeze into that hour. And that's pretty much it. Anything else, Matty?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, sure.
Enjoy the week.
Idiots. You're all idiots.
Enjoy the week. Enjoy the games. Enjoy life. And we will talk again next Tuesday night on Strong Island TV.
Bye. Idiots.